A woman is accusing Sean Diddy Combs of and her when she was 16 years old in 2000.
In the meantime, let's go back to New York City. Want to get some updates on the case that is unfolding there regarding Sean Diddy Combs.
The shocking disappearance of Janice Combs, his beloved mother, has left everyone absolutely stunned. What could possibly drive a mother, who has been her son's most fierce defender, to vanish into thin air? Trust me, this story has everything. Scandalous whispers, dark secrets, and family drama that will leave you absolutely speechless. So hold on to your seats, because we're about to dive deep into a family crisis that's as mysterious as it is absolutely fascinating. The bombshell news that dropped earlier this week has sent shockwaves through the entertainment industry. Janice Combs, the matriarch of the Combs dynasty, has fled the country. Yes, you read that correctly. The very woman who has stood unwavering by Diddy's side throughout his turbulent career and recent legal storms has seemingly evaporated into thin air. This wasn't just any ordinary departure. It was meticulously planned, leaving even her closest confidants completely blindsided and desperate for answers. And let's be crystal clear, this isn't some luxurious extended vacation we're talking about. Everything about this feels calculated, deliberate, as if she's running from something or someone. Let's rewind for a moment, shall we? For weeks, Janice had been Diddy's most passionate advocate, releasing heartfelt statements that portrayed her as nothing but a devastated mother who believed wholeheartedly in her son's innocence. She boldly called the accusations against him a public lynching and pleaded with everyone not to condemn him before hearing his version of events. She appeared ready to fight tooth and nail for her son's reputation. So the burning question on everyone's minds is, why would she suddenly abandon ship? That's the million-dollar mystery, and the answers might be lurking in the shadows of her past.
You know, that kind of environment growing up in is going to have an impact on a child growing up. Now, it doesn't make excuses for what people do in adulthood, and the form that can take really depends on a lot of different things, including things such as what are the family values? Are the family values about, you know, being open and honest about things, or if there's trauma in a family, do families deal with it, or how is that child raised?
Now, let me spill some piping hot tea about the whispers surrounding her connection to Diddy's alleged misconduct. For years, there have been persistent rumors about these absolutely wild parties she hosted at their Mount Vernon family home when Diddy was just a child. And trust me, these weren't your typical neighborhood gatherings with cookies and punch. According to childhood friends who've recently broken their silence in explosive documentaries, these events were anything but innocent. Tim Patterson, who's known Diddy since forever, described these nights in the most chilling terms: chaotic and deeply disturbing. He revealed that it wasn't unusual to stumble upon rooms filled with activities that no child should ever be exposed to. Patterson even suggested that being immersed in such an environment at such a tender age might have planted the seeds for the very behaviors Diddy now stands accused of.
According to the Rolling Stone, the doc features an alleged childhood friend of Puff's, hip-hop producer Tim Dog Patterson. He alleged that Janice, Diddy's mom, would often throw parties at Diddy's childhood home. He says that during the parties, it wasn't uncommon to walk into rooms where adults was having that was just their normal.
But here's where the plot thickens spectacularly. Janice has always been portrayed as this fiercely protective mother figure, someone who moved heaven and earth to give her son a better life. She made sure he attended the finest private schools, kept him dressed impeccably, and relocated the family to a more upscale neighborhood after the devastating loss of Diddy's father. So how do we reconcile this image of the devoted mother with these shocking stories about those parties? Could it be that she was desperately trying to provide for her son in the only way she knew how, even if it meant turning a blind eye to the chaos swirling around them? Or was she more deeply entrenched in that lifestyle than anyone ever dared to imagine?
Talking about the parties, Tim says, verbatim, "That's what we were privy to. This was what we were fed. Was it desensitizing us? I'm sure it was. Were we aware of it? No, that was just Saturday night." In the doc, per Rolling Stone, this type of childhood is alleged to be why Tim, the longtime friend of Diddy's, Puff believes that Puff found himself in the position he is in now.
And darlings, let's talk about the timing of her vanishing act. It's absolutely suspicious. Just as the heat on Diddy's legal battles started reaching inferno levels, with more accusers stepping forward and damning documentaries hitting the airwaves, Janice disappeared. Coincidence? I think not. Industry insiders are already whispering that her sudden exodus might be a calculated move to avoid being dragged into the legal spotlight. After all, if those childhood parties were truly as wild as people claim, who's to say she wouldn't be summoned to testify? And what explosive revelations might slip out if she were put under oath? But wait, it gets even juicier. According to my impeccable sources, Janice didn't just slip away quietly into the night. She reportedly took a substantial amount of money with her. Money that Diddy desperately needs for his mounting legal expenses. If this bombshell is true, it raises even more scandalous questions about her motives. Was she fleeing out of sheer terror, or was she cleverly securing her own future while she still had the chance? Either way, her actions have left a gaping hole in Diddy's support system precisely when he needs it most.
I think another question that we just can't ignore is the role of power. Because one question is, how does somebody become the way they are? And then another question is, how are they allowed to stay the way that they are? And I think that also speaks to this kind of, lack of accountability.
And darlings, the drama doesn't stop there. The impact of her departure on the Combs family is absolutely devastating. Diddy's children, who've already been thrust unwillingly into this media circus because of their father's legal troubles, are now grappling with the heartbreaking reality of their grandmother's abandonment. Janice wasn't just any grandmother. She was their rock, their constant, always front and center at every red carpet event and family gathering. Her sudden vanishing act has left them completely shattered, with one insider revealing that the family dynamic has been utterly destroyed. You can't help but wonder how this betrayal will shape their view of both their father and grandmother in the years to come.
Everyone keeps saying to me, like, how did you keep, why did you keep going? Why were you there? I'm like, it literally is around me. If I don't stay at home, this is the atmosphere I'm in. Like, I have no choice.
But hold on to your seats, because things are about to get even more explosive. Word on the street is that the FBI is keeping a very close eye on Janice's disappearance. While she hasn't been slapped with any charges yet, her connection to Diddy's case could make her a person of significant interest. Some insiders are buzzing that it's just a matter of time before her name appears on a wanted list, especially if it turns out she's sitting on information that could blow this whole investigation wide open. For now, though, she's playing an incredible game of hide and seek. Some say she's living it up in Europe, while others swear she's soaking up the sun somewhere in the Caribbean. Wherever she is, she's managed to completely vanish from the grid. No small feat in today's world where everyone's got a smartphone and social media. Now let's dive into what this escape really means for everyone involved. First off, it paints an absolutely fascinating picture of a woman who might not be as innocent as she's tried to appear. While she's been publicly defending Diddy with the passion of a mother bear, her actions tell a completely different story, one of self-preservation and perhaps guilt. Could it be that she knows far more than she's letting on? And if so, what does that mean for Diddy's case? Her absence could be absolutely devastating for his legal team's strategy of painting him as a victim of circumstance when one of his strongest supporters has seemingly turned tail and run. And then there's the legacy angle. Oh my, Janice has always been this powerful symbol of resilience in the Combs family saga, the determined single mother who raised a mogul against impossible odds. But darling, her sudden disappearing act threatens to completely destroy that carefully crafted image, casting dark shadows over everything she's worked so hard to build. It's a stark reminder that even the most perfectly constructed facades can crumble when the pressure becomes too intense. As this story continues to unfold, one thing is crystal clear: Janice's escape has added yet another layer of jaw-dropping drama to an already chaotic situation. Whether she's running from the law, the relentless media, or her own guilty conscience, her actions have left a trail of burning questions that might never be answered. And while Diddy prepares for the fight of his life, he now has to do it without the one person who's been his foundation for over 5 decades. The ripple effects of her disappearance are only beginning to surface, and trust me, the consequences could be more earth-shattering than anyone could have imagined.
Actually thought that he was above the law, so I can only think that he was sloppy in the way that he did these crimes, that there's probably a trail of evidence, not only involving him, but everybody in his circle that he would, delegate these responsibilities to. And those people are when they're...
Now let's dish about Diddy's legal troubles because, honey, they are piling up faster than designer shoes at a sample sale. The charges he's facing aren't just serious, they're absolutely explosive, and they seem to get more shocking with each passing day. We're talking allegations of coercion, accusations of orchestrating elaborate gatherings with questionable participants. The list is endless, and that's just the criminal side of things. On the civil front, lawsuits are raining down like a tropical storm, with powerhouse attorney Tony Busby reportedly representing, are you sitting down? 120 accusers? Yes, you heard that right, 120. That number alone is enough to make your head spin, and while Diddy's legal dream team has been working overtime to deny these claims and paint him as a victim of exaggerated accusations, the sheer volume of cases is impossible to ignore.
I feel like we're almost becoming numb to the lawsuit after the lawsuit after the lawsuit. And do all of the allegations against Combs so far that we've seen make the claims here, these new claims, do you think it makes it more or less true?
And darlings, here's where Janice's sudden departure becomes absolutely crucial in this whole mess. It's not just an emotional blow to Diddy's support system, it's a complete logistical nightmare. Let's not forget that Janice was his most powerful defender. Her public statements calling the allegations a public lynching were the cornerstone of his entire defense strategy. She was the family's moral compass, the one person who could stand up and vouch for Diddy's character and upbringing with absolute authority. But now, with her mysterious vanishing act, it feels like even his closest allies are abandoning ship faster than passengers on the Titanic. And while nobody's saying it out loud, the whispers are growing louder by the day. Could Janice's disappearance be a sign that she knows something the rest of us don't? Is there a bombshell piece of this puzzle that hasn't been revealed yet?
And because the 8 people in the videos, the 8 celebrities in the videos were allegedly victims of crimes, we know who they are, but we will not be naming them, famous or not.
Now, let's talk money, honey, because things are looking absolutely dire on the financial front. According to my impeccable sources, Diddy is facing a cash flow crisis that could completely derail his ability to mount a solid defense. Let's be real, legal battles of this magnitude aren't cheap, and the high-profile nature of his case means he needs the absolute creme de la creme of lawyers. But with Janice allegedly taking a massive chunk of his remaining funds when she fled, his financial resources are stretched thinner than a runway model. And let's not forget about those settlements. While Diddy's team keeps insisting that settling certain lawsuits doesn't mean he's admitting guilt, the payouts have reportedly been absolutely astronomical. Each settlement is like another bite out of his fortune, leaving less and less for his defense.
Well, first of all, I can only imagine how sloppy Sean Combs was with evidence when he got busted with those 2 machine guns or 3 machine guns with the altered serial numbers. So I really don't trust Sean Combs or the people around him's ability to properly cover up anything. So I envision that you're going to see a trial, payments from his Amex for flights for people, straight payments directly from his company to people.
But darlings, the financial strain isn't just about those eye-watering legal fees. Diddy's entire business empire, once the crown jewel of his success, is showing more cracks than a dropped mirror. From his music label to his fashion ventures and that glamorous spirits brand, everything is under the microscope. Sponsors are running for the hills, partnerships are dissolving faster than sugar in hot tea, and public perception is shifting dramatically. Even some of his most ride-or-die collaborators are reportedly distancing themselves, desperate not to be caught in the crossfire of this growing scandal. It's like watching dominoes fall. One piece goes down, and it threatens to bring the entire structure crashing down with it.
Time frame is important because this happened in hotels, in places that have surveillance, that there's records that could be consistent with his testimony about when he alleges that these parties took place. He probably has his own information about who attended the events. When you're somebody like Sean Combs and you're such a celebrity and you're engaged in this type of behavior, people around you are memorializing it on their own.
And oh, my heart breaks when we talk about the family dynamic, or what's left of it. Janice's disappearance has created this enormous void that absolutely no one seems able to fill. Diddy's children, already trying to navigate this media circus surrounding their father, now have to process the gut-wrenching stress of their grandmother's absence. Let's remember that Janice wasn't just any grandmother. She was the glue that held this family together. She was there for everything: school events, red carpet appearances, family vacations, the works. Her sudden departure feels like the ultimate betrayal, and it's left the family completely devastated. One insider described the atmosphere in the Combs household as beyond tense. Everyone's walking on eggshells, terrified about what bomb might drop next.
He is very, very dominant. Like, he wants to control the situation. He wants to control his inner circle. He wants to make everyone have a good time and enjoy his parties. And so, it is scary, because you think, this person, or possibly his social network or the people he's around, could make or break your career.
But the emotional toll on Diddy himself is absolutely heartbreaking. According to sources close to the music mogul, he's wrestling with intense feelings of betrayal and confusion, constantly questioning why his mother would abandon him during his darkest hour. Some say this betrayal has him questioning everything about his upbringing and the people he trusted most. It's a devastating blow that couldn't have come at a worse time.
But it will be up to the jury. And there's really another piece of this case, and that's the racketeering case. And they don't really talk about that. Diddy's attorneys, Sean Combs' attorneys, they stay away from the racketeering part of this. They are focused solely on the trafficking part of this case.
And let's talk about these explosive documentaries hitting streaming platforms like wildfire. From Peacock's Diddy: The Making of a Bad Boy to Discovery's The Fall of Diddy, these exposés are painting a shocking picture of a man whose empire was built on secrets and scandal. Each documentary brings new revelations, new witnesses, and new reasons to question Diddy's legacy. While his legal team dismisses these as sensationalized, they can't deny the impact on public perception.
Well, certainly there's a lot of information that needs to be substantiated, investigated, and those kinds of things. But when we look at people who become offenders, we oftentimes see early exposure to whether that's or actual behavior, and we oftentimes see that within the family.
One of the most damaging aspects of these documentaries is how they connect Diddy's past to his present troubles. Childhood friends like Tim Patterson have come forward with stories suggesting his current problems have deep roots. Patterson's accounts of those wild gatherings at Janice's house have added fuel to this raging fire. While Diddy's always been open about his rough upbringing, these new revelations cast his past in a much darker light.
So remember when I said Diddy mother might be the originator of the freak-offs? All right, so apparently tomorrow there's the Peacock is dropping the Diddy documentary. It's called Diddy: The Making of a Bad Boy, and the doc gets into Diddy's childhood and his experience growing up in connection to the lawsuit and assault allegations he's currently facing.
Even more disturbing are the testimonials from former employees, ex-partners, and industry insiders, people from Diddy's inner circle. Their stories paint a picture of a man who used his power to get what he wanted, often at others' expense. Whether it's former girlfriends sharing troubling encounters or employees describing a toxic work environment, the narrative is consistent. Diddy thrived on control, and when challenged, things turned ugly.
If you say the wrong thing, or you complain, or I don't know, there's an element where you're just, I guess manipulated in a way to make you feel like, oh, you have to please everyone around you. You can't say anything wrong. You don't want to say a bad thing, or when they're constantly asking, would you like to do and you're like, well, I don't do, and they're like, well, why don't you do?
And Janice's role in all this? Her disappearance raises haunting questions about how much she really knew. Was she aware of these allegations before they went public? Did she enable his behavior? Does her departure signal guilt or self-preservation? These questions may never be answered, but they add another layer to this complex story. As the trial date approaches, the stakes couldn't be higher for Diddy. This isn't just about clearing his name, it's about salvaging what's left of his legacy. But with each new revelation, lawsuit, and the drama of his mother's disappearance, it's becoming harder to see a way forward. His empire, once a symbol of triumph, now feels like a house of cards ready to collapse. Will Diddy somehow turn things around? Is this truly the end for one of hip-hop's most iconic figures? Will Janice resurface and explain her actions? As this storm continues to rage, one thing is crystal clear. This story is far from over. In fact, we're just scratching the surface. Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more celebrity gossip and intriguing stories. Until next time, stay curious. Stay curious.